we're going to look at Fear of the Dark by Maiden. It features basically two guitar parts playing in unison, octaves apart. It's a really cool picking exercise. It's a nice stretching exercise as well, and your end result could sound something like this. Now, on your PDF file, there's guitar 1 and guitar 2. Guitar 1 I've pre-recorded, so you're going to hear it in the background, and I'm going to play the green part, guitar 2, because it's the lower octave. I'll show you the other guitar part obviously later as well, but your end result could sound something like this. Here we go. And etc, etc. I'm not going to go too far into it. We're now going to go into the breakdown of this. Now, before we get going, I want to mention alternative picking. Now, alternative picking means you're going down, up, 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 down, up. You've got that by now, I'm sure. Okay. And if you look at your PDF, you'll notice that if you're working with guitar 2, like I said, the lower octave, the numbers are basically in pairs, excepting for the first note. So you're starting with a 5. I'll show you the fretting hand shortly. And after that, there's 2 5s on the same string, 2 other 5s on the same string, or different string rather, 2 7s, 2 8s, 2 7s. Now, what's my picking hands movement after the first note? It's hold, and then you double up. So you can see that movement there, nice and smooth, nice and relaxed. You'll see my palm is resting on the saddles over here to ensure a bit of palm damping. Like I said, not only is it a cool song to learn, it's a very good exercise as well, especially for the stretches. So one more time, just on the picking technique, palm down. If I go too far forward, my notes are dead. You can hear that's completely dead, don't want that. If I go too far back, nice and noisy, don't want that either. So it's a balance to get your palm just at the right sort of sweet spot, just gently touching the strings like this. So you want to make sure you can hear the pitch of the string, but you can hear that it's muffled. Now I'm going to pan across to your fretting hand, and we're going to look at the first bar to get it going. You're playing at fret number 5. Notice my fingers are numbered. Please try and use the same finger numbers or the same finger sequencing and get that pinky working, especially for the 8 in the first bar. Okay, I'm going to come a little bit closer into it now because we're going to go as low as fret 3 now. We mentioned the first 5 as a single. You can see that on the PDF, and from that you go double notes. You can see when I go to the 6th string, double 5, you can hear it's a double note. Back down, you can hear it's a double note, everything in fret 5. Then you go to fret 7. Notice I don't lift my first finger up. And when I get to the 8, all the fingers are still in position. That's what makes this such a cool exercise and technical sort of discipline as well. So the first part of the bar is going to sound something like this. First note, double. And that's the first bar in completion. One more time, nice and slow, a little bit closer. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the second bar starts in fret 3. So you move down to the 3rd fret. And you're going to have to drop your thumb a bit, because if your thumb is over the top like my thumb is now, your pinky probably isn't really going to want to go to fret number 9. He's really not happy with that. But watch what happens when my thumb is waving at you. Watch what happens when he disappears. You can see he's going behind the neck. And look how nice my hand can open up. And I need that because my pinky needs to get fret 7. You'll see it now. Second bar in green, guitar 2, is going to start like this. And watch a little twist on the last 2 notes of the second bar as well. It's not a double 5 or a double 7, it's a 7-3. So it's a nice little exercise for the pinky. So let's do that second bar again with me. Count of 4, 2, 3, 4. There's the pinky, and there's the 2 single notes. Now the trick over here is to go from the first bar to the second bar without missing a beat. Let's try that together. 1, 2, 3, 4 and you come back. So your lesson to be learned over here, to get the finger stretching, lower the thumb, bad technique, good technique, can stretch. Your other technique you wanted to perfect over here was to get your alternative strokes, your down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, to get that nice and smooth, and also to get the palm damping. Now the first single note of each bar we mentioned, I'm going to lift up my palm to get that first note out. So the single note that, did you see my palm lift there? You can see the light at the back there. And lift, and back in position again there. So we need a little lift to help get the accent from the first beat. Now I'm not going to go into the rest of it because that's going to take up too much of the video. You should have enough technique now to be able to play the rest of the introduction. Now this one's going to be in two parts. The second part's going to be the part where they sort of sing along with the chant if you're watching that live video. In other words, the second part's going to have the part which goes. But that's enough for now. We're now going to look at what guitar 1 does, the pre-recorded part that we spoke about. And for guitar 1, or soft guitars, just said if you're fast forwarding and rewinding the video, you can associate a different part with a different guitar for the fun of it. And also Iron Maiden, you also probably know that they sometimes use a Strat and a Les Paul combination, so just to get a bit of authenticity. But enough said. We're going to do the part that goes. Sounds like that now. Now, when you put it together, I'm going to play the backtrack again. This time the pre-recorded time, or the pre-recorded part rather, is what you've already done. So you're going to sound like this. And that sounds pretty cool as well. Again, just to revise your palm damping technique, obviously the Les Pauls have got a different type of bridge. So I'm going to zoom in a bit over here so you can see the different type of bridge for your palm damping. It's got the split bridge where the Strat's obviously got the one piece. So you're resting your palm round about here to ensure your damping. So it's like this. And again, on the first note, you can hear the first note ringing, and you can see the palm lifting up very carefully in the background, and it comes back down for the damping. So slow motion. Very important to make sure that damping is working. Okay, onto the picking hand. From the picking hand to the fretting hand, where all the main work is done. We're starting at fret number 7, so it's going to be like this. And notice that the ring finger, I'm going to come a bit closer there, simply just jumps up a string. So it's starting at fret number 7, string 3. Let it ring a little bit, and you go into your doubles, your pairs we spoke about when we were playing with the first part, the guitar 2, and it's going to go. Notice that movement, very small movement. And you'll notice that my hand is actually staying quite close, so this whole movement I'm doing now mustn't take place. I've sometimes seen one or two players when they're still learning to play single notes going, and the fingers go too far. Keep them nice and close. So you can see how close the fingers are to the fretboard here. It's a bit of a different angle. You can see nice and close. We got that nice and close movement. So the less your fingers have to move, the more accurate you're going to be. And you can see the notes are quite easy. Just basically read it straight from the tab. There's no tricky picking. There's no tricky timing. As long as you got your alternative strokes, you're pretty much home in the bag. And just to take you through that, if you want to read this with the PDF, you're starting, like we said, with a single 7. Jump up a string for the doubles. 7s, 7s, and here comes your 5, 6. When you play the 6, keep the 5 in position, don't lift it, because you're going to come back to it anywhere. It's unnecessary hand movement. So double 5, 6, double 5, 7, and then the next bar, you simply jump up to get that single 5 with the first finger. Obviously, don't pull your hand back like I did. I just did that to show you the position of the finger. And that's going to go. And you'll notice that second bar has also got that single double. That sounds confusing, eh? It's a double beat, but 2 single notes at the end of it. So that's what we mean by the single double. Okay, look into the terminology. If you got any questions, please let me know. There should be enough information over here with the technique showing you how to pick. Make sure you got your picking technique nice and accurate, your alternative strokes. You know how to read tab, otherwise you wouldn't be getting this. And it's a really nice exercise to get your damping and learn a cool riff at the same time. Please don't go away and look for the second video, which is going to have the part that goes, which we spoke about at the beginning of this video too. Hope you enjoyed it so far. Get that finger stretching, remember, drop the thumb. You see the thumb's lowering over here, and it works quite nice. And we'll also talk about keys and everything regarding the piece in the next video. See you soon.